Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Alright, let's get straight into this video. I'm starting out on blow dried hair that I had in about 6 dookie plaits the night before because I was too lazy to deal with it, and now I'm just combing it out and preparing to start my braids. Now with these braids, I realized that the quickest way is to actually do all of your parts beforehand, which most of you would already know, but I didn't do it until now. So I'm starting off by just separating the top portion of my hair in half. Alright, once we have the front out the way, it's time to move on to the back. I'm doing pretty, I guess, medium-sized sections. So right where I have that cartilage piercing, that is where I'm doing my part. I guess you can say in the middle of your ear or a little above the middle of your ear. And I just use my index finger to kind of guide my hand and bring the part all the way around. And then I'm going to show you guys how I do the sections. Okay, so this back section that I just took off, I'm gonna separate that into 3, and I'm gonna have 3 braids in the back. And I'm gonna be mentioning the numbers, which is really important because that's how you get your braids to fall properly. So I'm gonna split this section into 3 equal parts, and then I'm gonna move on to the other section, and you guys are gonna see why I did 3 in the back. Alright, so this is how we're looking in the back. We got 3 braids, good. And so now I'm going to part off the section above that. Now above that, because I don't know where to tell you to start that part, I kind of just try to make sure that each section is the same width. And I mean, they're braids, they don't have to be perfect, but you can kind of just eyeball it. And as I said, use your comb and your finger to guide the part. As you can see, my part is not perfect, but that is okay. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Now with this back section, I split this section into 2 and then each of those sections into 2. Basically, I have 4 in this row. So the first row I had 3. Then the other row, now I have 4. Each row that you do, you don't want to have the same numbers consecutively. For the most part, doing that, you'll end up with braids falling on top of each other and not between each other. So now this row above, I ended up doing 5 braids. So now you can see the pattern of doing 3, 4, 5. And then as I go back up to the top of my head, I reduce the number again. 4, 3, 2, 1. And so that's how I got those rows to lay properly, and now I'm at the side. Now at the side, I start off with 1 braid. I didn't want them to be too small, so I just did 1 braid, and I'm gonna do the same kind of thing where the number is different. And then above that, I have 2 braids. This is kind of moving fast, and I didn't realize how fast this was edited, but I hope you guys can just play it back and catch up. And then the row ahead of that, I did 3 braids. You see? Then this last and final row that I'm doing now, it had 4 braids, and that's how I got each braid to kind of just lay on top of each other. I did the same thing on each side. Alright, so this is the kind of hair that I used today, the kind of expression hair, and I really like this one. This is my first time using this particular brand of expression, but it was really nice. It came separated into 2, and what I liked about it was that I did not have to cut it. It wasn't, I think, like 84 inches or something like that. It was a length that I could just literally just take out the pack and use it. And then this is the wax that I'm using today. So I already did most of the back, but I'm going to show you guys how I do braids in the back of my head, and basically just show you how to braid without looking. Now, the more I braid, the more I realize that one of the most important things is the size or the width or whatever of the pieces of hair that you add. You don't want it to be too thick or else it's just gonna look clumpy and bumpy. So as you can see, those first two pieces that I added, they were about the same size, and you're gonna add them kind of like one after the other. So you're gonna add a piece and then just braid one and then add a piece. And then the third piece is just half the size of the first two pieces, and that comes in a little later just to keep the width of the braid going straight down so it doesn't just start off thick and then boom, skinny. So overall it was 3 pieces of hair. Alright, so I split out my 3 pieces of braiding hair that I'm going to add. I put wax around the section of my hair, and then I split my hair into 3 parts. So as I'm going to show you, I'm going to take that section in my right hand, pull the section on the left in my right hand, right? Then what's in my left hand, I bring it around and pull from the right. And this is really just the process. You just interchange from right to left. Now once you've done that and you bring that right hand to the left twice, you can now add your braiding hair between your index finger and your thumb. And as I always mention, choose the finger that you're going to add the hair into and continue that. Then I braid 1, 2. Now I'm going to add a second piece of hair which is about the same size, and this is why they're the same size and they're adding so quickly. You want the width of the braid to be continuous for the most part until the end. Now I can braid down about say 6 times. I'm not adding the last piece yet. Just keep braiding down, and notice that that index finger and thumb came back to the left before I then added that third piece, which is noticeably smaller, and that's it. Then you just continue braiding down. As you can see, it's neat, the width is continuous, it's not lumpy and bumpy, and that is really the entire process. Once I braid behind my head, I just swing the hair around with my hand and continue braiding down, making sure to tuck my real hair underneath. Now I have so many braiding videos. If this one is too fast, you can watch my 2 other knotless videos. I also have a feed-in video that you can watch, but this is really the entire process. And then I'm going to show you guys how I braid in the front, and I'm going to repeat the same process again because I personally braid the same way all over my head. Once I find a method that works for me and gives me neat tight braids, I continue. So I did one side of my hair. This is how it's looking. This is actually looking pretty good. I haven't braided in a while, so I wasn't sure if I still had it, but I sure do. So now let's get into the front, and I'm gonna just go through the process again until you guys get it. Alright, so as you guys saw how I had this section, this is 1 braid. Detangle, add your wax. This is like around my edges, so I make sure to do my little swoop swoop. And then I split my hair into 3 parts. Take from the left, grab at the right. Take that middle piece, grab it to the left. Bring that right hand over to the left again. Bam! You have that index finger and thumb to the left. Now we add the hair. See how the index finger grabs the hair? Bring it around. 1. Bring it back to the left. Always bring it to the same side, and then add the second piece. Second piece, you know, is the same size as the first piece. Now you go 1, 2. We go about 5 to 6 to braid it down properly before adding the third piece, and we don't add until that right hand with the index finger and thumb comes back to the left. I braided a little more down on this side, not sure why, but yeah. Now I added my third piece. I guess I braided about 8 times on this braid particularly, but about 6 to 8 times should be enough before adding the third piece. And as I said, the third piece is just to keep the width of the braid similar going throughout. You don't want it to be super thick at the top, and then once you get quarter way or halfway down the braid, it just becomes super thin. So yeah, this is it. I'm going to continue this on this side of my head. I'm going to let you guys watch, and then I'm going to come back and repeat it one more time. Alright, third time's a charm. Time for the final braid. So I'm adding my wax on the section, and you're gonna see me kind of brush my edges in the direction that I'll want them while I have the braids. It will just help your braids to look neater, and of course the edges always make your hair looks neat. Don't braid too tight, and do not braid your edges into the braid. It will pull out your edges, guys. So I split my hair into three. I forgot to mention that I also grab by braiding underneath. So see, I'm grabbing behind, so I bring it behind, and I'm grabbing the same thing. I bring it to the left for the second time. Once you've brought that right hand and grabbed to the left for the second time, you add the first piece of hair between that index and thumb. Bring it around, bring it behind, grabbing again. Bring that hand back to the left side. I particularly find it comfortable to always grab on the left side, and I add between the same two fingers the entire time I braid. Now, after I've added the second piece, I can braid down about 6 to 8 times, just enough to get the braid, established and going with the thickness that we want before we add a third piece of hair. Alright, we've braided down. Now adding to that same, once you grab to the left side, same two fingers, index and thumb, adding it and braiding behind or under, whatever you want to call it, grab. And this is really it. This is what we've been doing this entire time. That is all. Okay, so this was the quickest and easiest I've ever braided my hair. I just sat listening to music for a few hours. I want to say, what, 4 hours or so? 4 or 5, including the fully separating and departing. And I did braid this down to my hip, guys. But yeah, this was pretty simple. I just kind of sat there and braided my hair. So I find this to be really neat and really nice. So I'm just going to continue braiding, and then I'm going to get some hot water and seal the ends. Also helps them to not look all crinkly and stuff. Alright guys, so I have a thick towel in my lap. I have this deep cup of steaming hot water, and okay, so I'm going to tell you that is the trick about using hot water. Okay, when the water is steaming hot, as in like right off the stove, right out the kettle, you only want to dip the exact ends, like what you see me have in my hand just now, which is just the ends. You literally just going to dip the ends alone, just the ends, and the hot water. I'm gonna tell you what, when the hot water is steaming hot, this is not real hair. This is Kanekalon, babes. You will fry the braid, and the braid will shrivel up into nothing. So your braid will start off being at your hip, and by the time you've applied that steaming boiling hot water on all of your hair, not only will it hurt, your braids will shrivel up like to your belly button, or it just won't be to your hips anymore. Don't do that. I've experienced that. Don't do that. Now when you're ready to actually add the length of the hair in the hot water, what you want to do is pour out a little bit of the hot water and pour some cold water in it. You want to reduce the temperature of the water if you're going to apply all of the hair in. So you want it boiling or very, very hot for the ends, and you want it just regular hot or really, really warm for the length of the hair. You want to save the length of the hair. Now I'm gonna apply some mousse, and yeah, that was pretty much it. This was not long, this was simple, and these are really cute. So I'm back. I'm glad to be back in braids. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks you guys for coming back to my channel. I know I've been gone for a while. I hope this video was informative. If you are not subscribed, I mean, come on now, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. That will be it, and I gotta go, so I'm gonna see y'all in my next video. Bye.